Okay, first things first, let's talk about the companies that you chose. Business Innovators is going to be the first one to defend, meaning you're going to be on day one, first defender. You have chosen product that's new to this course, never seen product before. Cat's Eye, you chose Dutch Bros. You are the second to defend. I have seen Dutch Bros last year. And then Divine Intervention have chosen Target. Target is, I'm familiar with Target, but it was not covered last year. It was many years back. And then Orium chose Alaskan Airlines, which was a company that was covered last year. So I'm still, yes, familiar with it. As for the rest, Intel was also last year. Chevron was last year. FedEx, I am very familiar because when I took Strama, that was my project. High Five is very brave. And then Jaguar is also very brave. They chose a Philippine company. So the first set of UP bucks goes to Business Innovators 2.0. There are basically two types. So the first one, of course, is number of points. The second one is if you have equal in number of points, then complete. And then if I consider you both complete, then second to the last. Not the last, but the second to the last. So there is an element of strategy. Because you cannot just count until 9:59, because you will be the last. So the thing is, second, everyone in the group must, but it's the same submission. You just need to submit the same. Okay, so I'm going to give this a round. Take one and pass. This one is for you to put your name cards. However, there's only 12 because that's quite pricey. So because there's only 12 of those, I'm also going to give this up. 1, 2, 4, 5. What is 20 minus 8? Take one and pass. I think I have enough to delete a bit. Like each person gets 2, because that's too long. Okay, see all of those. First, some housekeeping. I would like each group to prepare a YouTube video, senior consulting group, and your mission, vision, and values. You have a maximum of 2 minutes. Answer the question, why should I hire you to study the company that you chose? Upload your video to my YouTube channel. Not your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. Okay? What deadline shall we set for this? How long do you need?
1 week.
Just 1 week?
Oh, 2 weeks. 1 month.
How about end of this month? This is not graded, by the way. This is not graded. This is just to make sure you are familiar with making videos, number one. And number two, you are able to upload without issues. Okay? So, this is not graded. Now, this is going to be our case discussion. You have encountered cases before in SO, and some teachers might have told you you should look for updated information, right? And then there are some who said no, you should not. So the way I handle it in Strama is you should not pretend you don't know anything other than what's in the case. Why? Because when you are making decisions in the real world, you don't have complete information. You are making decisions under a condition of uncertainty. As you have there, I think, you have certain for this. Then you have like maximax, minimax regret, etc. Yeah, so when you're making decisions under uncertainty, then you should not expect complete data. Which is why the cases are intended to be self-contained and therefore should be enough. So again, for all Strama cases, including your midterm is a case. I will give you 1 week more. Do not use out of case information. Okay. So answer only based on what you see in those. I think this is a 6-page case, right? Well, 7-page case. Yeah. So with that said, this is going to be our discussion outline, and I think you have noticed that this is also your assignment. Compare and contrast business models for Airbnb, large hotel chains, and bed and breakfast operators, which is basically our industry, and then create Airbnb's business model checklist. List Airbnb's COVID-19 response and resilience of its business model. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the industry? How has the lodging customer changed? And how does Airbnb's value proposition meet it? And finally, how can Airbnb improve competitiveness while mitigating current and future risks? We may not have enough time to actually exhaustively cover it, but we will try. So this is how it's going to go. Essentially, this is going to be driven by you guys. You're going to volunteer information, and I'm going to type your information into the site. So with that being said, let's start. Let's talk about the value propositions of Airbnb, large hotel chains, and bed and breakfast operators. So remember, what is a value proposition? A value proposition answers the question, why should I buy from you? Right? And then a profit proposition answers the question, how do you make money? So, who wants to go first? Raise your hand. Alright, you have it. Followed by Plan.
I start with the Airbnb.
Go wherever you.
I'll choose like the large hotel chains or so. Their value proposition is they offer different amenities aside from the hotel itself, like the room itself. They also offer some spa treatment, and then other recreation activities within the property of the hotels.
Okay, and then we have Alanis.
For the bed and breakfast value proposition, they actually offer a home-like ambience and the quieter atmosphere, as well as a possibly historical background to the property that they are renting out.
Historical. Okay, anyone else? I saw Solis.
So for Airbnb's profit proposition, they earn by charging a transaction fee for every service that is facilitated on the platform.
Okay, so you say you earn a transaction fees on what?
For the services, for every service that is facilitated on the
Every service facilitated on let me actually update. Sorry, I'm still navigating. Anyone else? I have Navarro.
So for the value proposition of Airbnb, sir, it had a peer-reviewed digital marketplace.
What are you answering? Value proposition.
Yes. For
Would that be a value proposition? Like I should buy from you because you're a customer. It's more like a profit proposition. Let's put it in a profit proposition.
Like hotel which you don't need to own and
No real estate costs. No maintenance.
also has less expenses from operating.
Less OpEx. I saw something here, Martinez both.
For large hotel chains, sir, they also market the hotel itself as the vacation destination.
Sorry, it's under value proposition.
Yes. Value proposition.
Could you tell me where the case it says that they market it as a vacation destination?
It's on page. There's this statement here that properties offering a spectacular view bolstering a hotel as the vacation destination.
Where, what page is that?
Page C10.
C10.
It begins at C, the first page through the continuing paragraph at C.
Okay. You're talking about. Alright. So hotels, market bed, vacation, this. And then I guess there was Navarro.
All of these
For the profit proposition of large hotel chains is that they profit mainly from room sales and other on-site related services.
So they have room revenues and
On-site related services.
okay. Anyone else? Let's talk about the bed and breakfast. I see Harris and then Solis. Okay, sure you can have it.
There's quality control. It's related to peer
Now,
review.
would you put that under the proposition? Yes. No. You're saying they have quality control. So would you put that under profit? Remember, profit usually is talking about how you make money, meaning revenues and costs. Whereas value is what can you do for the customer. So here it's actually under value proposition, where we are going to talk about quality control. Yeah, we already have that here in the marketplace. Alright. Who was the other one? Yes, Alice.
Value proposition, sir, for bed and breakfast. They are a slower paced environment located usually in rural areas.
Again,
Value proposition, sir. So they are slower paced environment usually located in rural areas.
how would that translate to profit?
The location itself is already the attraction for the tourists.
So that's,
Yes, value proposition.
I thought you said profit. So
No.
you mean value. So your value proposition is that you have a rustic location or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Let's talk about the value and profit proposition for bed and breakfast.
Gloria. So for bed and breakfast, they're just like Airbnb that their transaction fees are smaller compared to like hotels and those major competitors.
What do you mean by smaller transaction?
Like the cost percentage that they do for their operating expenses.
You're saying that the OPEX as a percent of sales is lower.
Like the no, not operating. The percentage or the scale in businesses, since they are more.
Okay, you're saying that they are small scale businesses.
Yeah.
But usually, if you study economics, a large business has what you would call economies of scale, which allows you to spread fixed costs over more quantities, right? So, if you say these are small scale businesses, then essentially you have higher points as a percentage, right? You have to apply what you learn in economics as well as management. Anyone else? Yes, Ines.
Profit proposition for large hotel chains.
Yes.
Larger chains tend to expand by purchasing pre-existing physical locations or through mergers.
Okay, so how does that translate? Profits.
Since expanding in international markets, it has regulations and so it's quite difficult for them to expand in international markets. That's why their strategy is they expand through merger.
Yes. What's the link to their? I mean, okay, fine. They expand through M&A, sure. What's the implication of their? You have to defend everything you say. You're correct. They do M&A, but what's the implication?
Won't it increase their profits and they'll serve another market?
Okay, you guys are marketing, but I'm sure you have taken finance. What's the implication if you do a lot of M&A?
I'm sure they are
Well, no, there's economies of scale, of course. There's economies of scope as well. But it's not cheap because you're buying. Yeah. So how sure are you that profit will increase? Because now you have like more depreciation, for example. You have more operating costs, right? So I'm just gonna put this as large is. Okay. Then I saw someone here from that. Followed by
For value proposition for bed and breakfast operators. So they offer more personalized offerings because they have the scale is small, so that the owners can personally interact with the guests.
okay. And then
for the proposition under the Airbnb, sir, they get a percentage from the host's earnings.
that's transaction fees for the service facility. I see Malaki's.
For profit proposition under bed and breakfast is their room revenue from users booking or renting the room.
And more revenues from customers, but necessarily small scale
Yes.
because you have limited room. Anyone else? Boris?
For value proposition of Airbnb, sir, customers would actually choose if they want to avail just a room or like a whole house that they would prefer.
Okay, so you're saying that one of the
Diverse.
advantages of Airbnb is you have the choice of accommodation
Accommodation, diverse accommodation.
size, right? Whole unit or is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Alright, anyone else? Or do you think we have completed essentially? Yes, Harris. Less manpower. I think it's covered already in what you said before, where you have a slight couple no real estate costs, no low maintenance. It's also
There's a profit proposition on beds and breakfast. Where the cost structure is more moderate and personal, which includes the mortgage or property utilities with limited labor.
So you're saying limited labor costs. But how does that then square up against what Boris said about higher office? We have found somewhat conflicting statements here. Come on.
For profit proposition for large hotel chains, they have high fixed operating costs due to their labor, maintenance, utilities.
Okay, which ties into what Martinez says about large scale. Okay, I think we're basically done. But actually, I think there's a lot that was covered. Here's what I said in the notes. For Airbnb, what's the main value proposition? Well, first, it's technology focused. Because you have to look at the travelers today. They use smartphones, right? And Airbnb has an app. It uses smartphone first. Hotels, not all of them have smartphones, and do you really want to install an app for just one lousy hotel, right? Whereas Airbnb, you have more choices. And then another value proposition for Airbnb is it's cheaper, in theory, and it's unique. And then there are numerous choices, which is here, actually, right? There is a lot of choices here. And then it also, you have two types of customers here. The first one is your guests. The second one is your hosts. So you don't forget that your Airbnb also has a revenue proposition for the hosts. Because you're kind of looking at the guests, but don't forget hosts. How about the profit? Well, I think it's mostly covered. They don't have real estate accommodation. They charge a transaction fee, and most of their costs is related to technology. Now, how about for hotels and motels, large hotel chains? Well, Harris is correct, in which there is a lot of different amenities, and Martinez said that they're marketed as vacation destinations. But what is the main advantage or main value about them? First one is you know what to expect. Right? You go into a Hilton, that essentially you would expect the same type of quality that you see in other Hiltons. Yes? Whereas Airbnb, how many of you have used Airbnb? Almost all of you. Is the quality the same?
No.
It depends on your host, right? So you don't know what to expect versus a hotel. Now, when you check into a hotel, how many of you have gone to a hotel? Okay, almost all of you do. So, do you know what to expect when you check into a hotel?
Yes.
What do you expect? Do you expect clean sheets?
Yes.
Room service?
Yes.
Do you expect toilet paper? Yes, right? Do you have those in Airbnb? Not necessarily. Yeah, that depends again. So there's the quality control here. There's familiarity, and then there's the brand of the hotel, of course. And finally, the hotel chains have a big advantage in which they have a global reach. They can offer you loyalty points. But what is the profit proposition here? I think it was mostly covered. They have high fixed costs. They have a high amount of assets. They're larger in scale. So, because of your large fixed costs, that means that your degree of operating leverage is reduced. DOL. DOL is FC over contribution margin. So, or is it operating income? One of those. Your degree of operating leverage is also very high, which means that you need to sell, right? To just recover your fixed cost, right? Well, what is the implication? The implication is that if I have to sell a lot, that means I will lower my rates in order to sell more rooms. Another profit proposition is that if I'm a hotel chain, there are some locations that are not so good, but I can still afford to subsidize those locations with other properties located in better places, just so that I have reach. Meaning I can afford to pay the cost. But Airbnb, it depends really on the host. Now for bed and breakfast, you have, I think, captured all of your value proposition. My notes say that they are unique and local. They have intimate accommodation, which is mentioned by Space and actually Batao Malolos, as well as they might be the only choice if you are in a really rural area. However, because they have very high operating costs, even though labor costs is lower, but operating cost is higher because you don't have economies of scale. You only have like 2 rooms, for example, and then you still have to clean, you have to hire you have to buy all those supplies, so you still have higher operating costs. That means that you are very vulnerable to tourism. Meaning, if the tourism industry is doing well, then you do well. If the tourism industry is not doing well, then you are really affected. Now, of course, this affects everyone. But because of the economics of the B&Bs, bed and breakfast operators, they are more affected than the hotel chains who have at least more assets. They have more money. And Airbnb, not at all affected in the sense that it doesn't own the property, right? So it doesn't have the fixed cost. There is an indirect effect, but not a direct. Okay, so we move on to the next thing, which is our business model canvas. Start. Only Airbnb, yes, we're only studying Airbnb here. We have Abroa. Are you raising your hand? No? Okay, Navarro. No, you're not raising your hand. I see Malamis. And yeah.
For customer segments, it is mentioned here that they have a majority of their guests for under 34 years.
Alright, majority of yes. Are under 34. Malamis. And then we have the highest tax, followed by the remote platinum.
For the cost structure, sir, they mainly spend on any expenses on the technology side.
Mostly technology. This okay, who else was that? And then
So for revenue streams, and what Ms. Collins said, Airbnb earns revenue by taking percentage of the host earnings, production fee for every
so percentage
of the host earnings.
And then no.
So for the lead partners of Airbnb, sir, would be the hosters, so the property owners, or the renters, these are the event.
Wait, you're already talking about the host, and then you're saying that
the host, the one with the partner.
so the host meaning the property owners. I see Agosto.
For new resources, sir, could be technology or its digital platforms.
Sorry, where was this? Key resources, right?
Technology, sir, for its digital platforms.
It's technology. And digital, what's the other?
For distribution channels, there is Airbnb website and their mobile application.
Website and payments. Yes,
For the activities by Airbnb is their policy creation and guideline. And
it's like a key activity, meaning it's something that they have to do. When you say key activity, it's something that you really do as a core part of your business. What you're saying is they're developing standards. That's not really a key activity, right? I saw Forrest.
Key activities are marketing and sales.
Do they actually do marketing?
They post online. Other like
You are now trying to reach customers, right?
customers.
So would that be under key activity, or would that be more under, I don't know, relationships maybe? Right?
Should be relationships.
Or you're saying marketing online, which essentially is your distribution channel. Right. So, nobody has key activity yet. We have Doble, Martinez, and Sevillano, and then Matabalonos. I can't remember those. You remember that? Most not too much. Go.
For the key activities, sir, how about like platform management, like the website, and the Airbnb website management?
Okay, platform management. And then who was the second one?
Me.
Martinez. Okay.
Process booking.
What's that? Key activities.
Yes, yeah. Bookings and payments.
Process, bookings, and payments. Those are activities. Oh. And then what's the third one? Sevillano. Okay.
relationships.
Yes.
The peer-to-peer game where the host and the customers read each other.
Peer-to-peer reviews. What's the fourth one? Loans. Yes.
For the key activities, so also there are maintenance of their technological digital platforms.
What level is it? And what's
As mentioned earlier, for value proposition is deeper and unique, has numerous choices.
correct? Numerous choices. And then the final one is
Yeah, customer support, then regulatory compliance and government relations.
there's a lot. So let's just say host, yes, support. Anyone else want to add something?
Airbnb is actually focused us.
Sure.
Crisis management using us agile response in case during COVID.
Okay, what's the second? Well, then,
Key partners, there is local governments as supplied by the PACER.
no problem. It's because, they have
Well then,
Got it. Anything else? Who wants to talk about their costs? Like, give me numbers. That's what I look for usually. I look for numbers, percentages in the cost and revenue. So, yeah, I need numbers.
6,800 employees compared to
6,800 employees as of
2020.
but in this case needs to be updated. But it's not. Anyone else? Yes, Martina.
I have customer segments.
Customer segment.
The business travel segment.
Do they really cater to business travel?
It was stated in the case that during 2021, as remote work became normalized, they Airbnb focused on that. B13.
Okay.
It's at the right side of
It says that they focus their, but it doesn't say that that is actually a piece. Why? Okay, why can I say that? Because you have to think about the psychology of business travelers. Now, if you're a business traveler, who determines the budget? You or the company? Company. And then usually the company would have partnerships or they would have prior contracts with hotel chains for the loyalty thing, right? So most of the time, the hotels are catering to the business travelers. Why? Because the business traveler also demand services like, good internet, access to a, business center. You have printing services, right? And Airbnb may not have those. Yeah. So because of that, business traveling is typically not a core segment. Yes, but for the loans.
Possible for customer segments, they focus on consumers who prefer sharing or instead of ownership.
Okay, sure. But for the loans, you're saying that they're targeting the sharing economy, right? Does anyone have any numbers to give me for revenue streams about this?
For Airbnb, 8.4 billion on
Yes.
Annual revenue.
8.4
billion US dollars.
all revenues
Yes, sir.
in 2022. Then we saw some much.
Sir, for their capitalization, market capitalization is about 74.5 billion.
That's neither a cost structure nor a market cap is just, how much the company is worth. Yes, Priya.
3.4 billion in free cash flow.
What's this?
Revenue.
Well, actually, technically, this is not a revenue stream, but we will just put it here anyway. 3.4 billion in free cash flow. Do you have finance software that teaches you what this is? Free cash flow. What is free cash flow?
Cash.
Cash flow for distribution to debt and equity holders. You have to incorporate everything. Although I am more on finance than yes, Eric.
For revenue streams, distributed highest is North America, 5% of the revenue in 2022, considered in the label.
So, America is 50%
Of their revenue in 2022.
anyone else want to add something? Yes, Agosto, Pabro, Piharas, and Silvia.
For revenue growth, circa it is 40% between 2021 to 2022.
You're just giving me revenue. Revenue growth is how much?
40%.
40% in 2022 was the next person I got. Yeah.
The company is still good in terms of Airbnb service. In terms of revenue, also in North America and Europe, Middle East and Africa increasing like 51.5% and 51.4% respectively.
And I'm not ruining. We'll just say, okay, it's okay. Then next.
So for the cost structure in 2022, the total cost and expenses amounting to $6.6 million.
Is $6.6 million, right? On 8.4 billion. No, it's billion, not million.
Million. Six. Yes,
Billion. Next. Who was the one next?
Billion.
Yeah.
The decrease in cost structures, increase in expenses from the year 2020 to 2021 from 6.9 billion to 5.5 billion.
No, we're just saying a year by year increase, but what's the main trend?
It increased during the pandemic in 2020.
So you're saying cost increase rate.
Yes.
Alright, so let's leave this one and I'll tell you what my needs here are. Key partners, we have of course the host, which is correct, as well as the local governments. Key activities is app development or management. But I think you are forgetting something very important, which is you need to continue developing hosts. You need to get new people to offer their property. That's very important. Then, what are your key resources? Your key resources, you only mentioned the technology and platform, which is their app and the brand. But you're forgetting two important things. The first one is the network. How many hosts you have? Very important, right? And then the second one is how many people are using your host? Because the more people using it equals, I mean, those two are self-reinforcing. The bigger your network, the bigger your users, right? The bigger your users, the more people using Airbnb, the more you are motivated to list your property on Airbnb because you can find it. So those two are also key resources. Now, how about the value proposition? Yeah, it's the sharing economy type of, we already discussed that earlier. And then customer relationships, this is correct. The main relationship is actually peer-to-peer review of the host and the guests. And then distribution channel is again correct. It's the app and the website only, right? There's no physical only. And then for customer segments, was covered. It is tech-savvy users who are comfortable with the sharing economy. Not really the business owner, although maybe they want to break into it, but it's not that they are really catering to them. Now, for the cost structure, Mijares correctly stated that most of their cost structure are that of a technology company. And since they don't own the property, right? What I'm looking for actually is the cost of goods sold is 48% of expenses. You have to compute that. You cannot just feed that into. And operating expenses is around 30% of your revenue. Furthermore, your operating margin or your operating income in 2022 is 21%, which is very good. That's kind of what I'm looking for here, meaning financial ratio analysis. So for the revenue streams, they function as an online marketplace. So looking at the case, that tells me that they have a fee per room stay, which is amounting to roughly 13.29%. Or it's around $160 per booking, or $21.32 per night. Okay, let us now move to what did they do in response to coronavirus? By the way, what were you doing during That would be very hard, right? Online class in junior high, senior high. How do you do PE?
No,
For example, home economics, how do you do that? Imagine home economics or like you video yourself doing push-ups.
Yes, like that.
Alright, let's talk about what did they do in response to the COVID pandemic, because that tells you what the company management prioritizes. I saw Gator Mosa first, and then Perez, and then Martinez, and then Bautista, and then Malatis. Okay, please remember those because I will forget. So, go.
So they adjusted their cancellation policies by offering refunds for reservations made before March 14 to June 22.
Okay. Next.
The company raised $2 million in private equity and debt lending operation and made a difficult decision to lay off 1925.
You're talking many things here, so let's take it one at a time. So raise 2 billion in private equity, what else?
Lay off 1,000.
Ayun.
1,925% of the workforce. Okay, we'll stop there.
Martinez. Sir,
Yes.
Airbnb expanded its sharing economy model by entering the online experience.
So third or online experiences market, right? Who was next? Navarro.
So Airbnb, to support hosts, Airbnb established a $17 million fund to help support hosts that have acquired long-term status with Airbnb.
So $17 million fund will support hosts, right?
Yes.
Who else?
Principals, they also have a cleaning guideline for their hosts to reduce the spread of the COVID-19 infection.
Safety and
Walang-
I think there's only 2 more. Okay.
In the aftermath of COVID, they focused their efforts on the business travel segment to
But that's after. We're talking about what did they do during. Yes,
They adjusted their vaccination policy.
already there.
They offered safety guidelines.
Already there. I saw abroad.
To confront the challenges of the pandemic in 2020, Airbnb expanded its sharing economy.
Sharing economy. Online experience.
They touted their preparation for the IPO.
Okay, that's so they're actually they more than they're because they actually did an IPO. So I think you got them all. Yeah, those are all of them. Was that a good response? Yeah, more or less good, right? So now let's move on to analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of these 3 players. Who wants to start? Solis and Cal.
Okay, so one strength of Airbnb is their smaller operating costs compared to hotels and bed and breakfast.
So you say they have lower operating costs compared to hotels and B&Bs. Yeah.
A strength for Airbnb there is a wider range of accommodation sizes.
Wider range of accommodations. I saw one, Master Plancha, I saw Sevilla. Let's go with those 2 first. For Airbnb. What do you mean by limited?
Market that relies on host and to deliver the service here. So that's
So you're not wrong, but let's look at it from a different angle. Do you know the So meaning you're relying on the quality control. So we can frame this as the weakness is you're relying on the host's quality control, right? Then let's go to civilian. Or was it Bautista?
Civilian.
Civilian.
For the large hotel chains, it's trying to catering to multiple traveler segments and differentiate through extensive amenities and facilities.
So extensive amenities and facilities. I see one, Balonos, Villahermosa, Valdez.
Answer for weakness for Airbnb. Inconsistent standard, inconsistent.
We already have the following.
For bed and breakfast, although they operate a weakness. Although they operate on a small scale, they are subject to the same regulations and taxes that other
Would that be a weakness? I mean, it's you're a parity with the rest. You don't have special regulation. So it's not a weakness. It's just that you are a competitive parity. So who else did I name? Did I name Valdez and Bautista?
Weakness for large hotel chains, they have high fixed and operating costs.
High fixed cost. Okay. Bautista, go ahead.
Weakness for bed and breakfast is that in terms of scalability, it's difficult.
So what I mean by that?
Since like compared to like the hotel chains, since in theory like they can easily expand since they have the capability for the bed and breakfast, they may not have that capacity since maybe the rooms they rent are mostly their own properties.
Actually, I would argue the opposite. I'll argue the opposite because I want to expand the rooms, I need to build a team of them, right? I cannot just create new rooms. I'm not that easy, right? But Airbnb, they don't need to build new of them. They find guests, they find hosts. So actually, they can expand more easily. Yes.
Can I change you?
Okay, they're first, but let's go with Solis, and then Fabroa, and then Leon.
Okay, so strength for bed and breakfast for more personalized experience for guests.
For bed and breakfast, right?
Bed and breakfast.
So more personalized guest experiences. And then what's the second one? Fabroa.
The weakness of large hotel chains would be complex regulations and slower expansion due to owning physical properties.
Okay, slower expansion due to owning the physical properties. There was the third one.
Strength for Airbnb is their core strength is the peer-to-peer trading system.
Why?
Because it governs the how hosts and the Airbnb have feedback from the guests.
I would say it's not necessarily a strength, but it mitigates their quality control weakness because now we can look at the ratings in order to determine what is their how good the guest the host and the guests are. So Valdez, Flores, Doble, and
Terms of large hotel chains are they maintain brand reputation since they're
so must maintain brand reputation, right? So you're saying that quality is good. Okay, next. Flores.
Strength for bread and breakfast operators, sir, is that they offer like unique locations for their customers. They like in rural areas.
Okay. Number 3 was the third one. Doble.
Weakness for bed and breakfast would be like very limited capacity, so only a few rooms that will restrict their revenue like potential. Bread and breakfast.
Okay. So capacity. Limited capacities. What's the okay?
High operating cost for bed and breakfast business.
Alright, we're rating costs as we have discussed here. Who was next? No, okay, Pabalamos, Serpancia, Martinez.
For possible siya sa Airbnb weakness, reliance for
Horrific.
I think
Okay,
But reliance to others for the lodging properties because they don't own it.
who is reliant?
Airbnb.
Already there, reliant on the hosts.
Owns for the properties. Not for the political related.
I mean, you're trying to split a very fine line here. But I think it's understood that they're reliant on the hosts and the host quality. Okay, next. Serpancia.
Weaknesses for bed and breakfast, vulnerable to changes in tourism.
Okay, sure. We said that. So vulnerable to tourism shifts. Next. Yes.
Bed and breakfast. Bed and breakfast bed and breakfast operators can offer spare rooms in their own homes.
In other words, that's a strategy, which is personalized experience. Yes.
Okay, sir. So Airbnb na lang service net.
Okay.
Is it the same ba?
What do you want to say?
Their revenue is strictly reliant on how many are the bookings of hotels. Is it the same?
Everyone is like that. Even the hotel chains are reliant on how the bookings. Right? So it's not a weakness per se.
But I'm not sure. I feel like strictly
If
Airbnb.
you're saying weakness, it has something that disadvantages them, right, compared to the others.
Like yung revenue streams is only on the bookings or unlike sa larger hotel chains wherein they have several amenities that they
I
can.
accept that.
So the revenue.
So they have less diversified revenue streams. I'll accept that. Did I have a next person?
Wala na sir.
No. Okay, I see one. Malangis, Harris, Ria, and Miharis, and Navarro.
Their organizational especially responding to macroeconomic factors.
So they're saying that they have more responsive to changes in the economy. Okay, next.
It operates for 120 countries with over
Is this Airbnb?
Airbnb
Okay, so you're saying that they are globally diversified. Next. Real.
Sir, ang weakness sa bed and breakfast, the owners bear full responsibility to the maintenance and other regulatory requirements.
So owners bear full responsibility for everything.
We have for this time, under Airbnb, the convenience in like the booking services. Convenience.
Convenience. Okay.
Leisure spends for large hotel chains, so diverse revenue sources, so profits can come from rooms and so on-site experience.
Okay, fine. You should think that. That's doing a Uno reverse, right? Bautista?
Weakness for bed and breakfast.
Low brand visibility. So
True.
that's
Actual.
Usually they don't have an online presence. Oh, so what do my notes say? So my notes say that there is no operating costs for hotel operations, which is mentioned by Solix. It says that the targets tech-savvy customers who are the customers today, and that is the perceived market leader. And then fourth is ubiquitous. The app is available anytime, and cheap and immediate operations. And of course, all of these are also strengths. Weakness, we did not see this at safety. How do I know if the person, the person
It's not a serial killer.
is coming to my house, is a serial killer? Or how do you know that you're going to the house of a serial killer?
Scary.
Because I don't know about you. When I was a child, my parents said, do not get food from strangers. Right? Do not go into the car of a stranger.
But to go into
Do not
a serial killer.
Do not let stranger come to your house. Do not go to house of strangers.
Unless you're Airbnb.
So what do we do today? We order Grab. So we're getting food from strangers.
We ride it.
And then we're riding in Grab. What a task. You're really riding in the car so they could do things with you. I don't know. And then you go into their house. And then you invite them to your house. So that's what we do today. Did your parents tell you that? Or they said, sure, you can accept food from them. If it's Grab, then maybe yes. If the food is on a motorbike. But if a guy in the street give you food, then no. Okay. So, weaknesses, it may be at second. I think something you did not cover. Second is legal exposure. Meaning, this case talks about Airbnb facing legal issues with hosts discriminating against guests. Now, you don't see that here in the Philippines because we are relatively, we're hospitable, but we are also homogeneous. What do I mean by homogeneous? I mean that everyone is Filipino, Chinese, Asian, like that. Right? But in the US, you have different colored people. And then there are some people who are racist. So no blacks. We call that no niggers. So that is an issue in the US, not so much here. And then also there is legality. Businesses might be registering as hosts, meaning they're trying to run away from the taxation. Because if you are an inn or a hotel, you have special laws that apply to you. Airbnb is in the gray area, so there is that legal issue. And then you also have the fact that the business models are easier to copy. I mean, look, Airbnb is just a marketplace. Is it hard to copy that business model? No. It's hard to copy the scale, but it's not hard to copy the model. And then they cannot easily match the hotel amenities. Like, what are some of the amenities in hotel? You have a gym. You have a pool. Do you have those in Airbnb? No. Unless you're in a condo, then maybe you have a pool, right? You might have a gym, but you cannot beat that. Now, how about hotels? The strength for hotels is branding, loyalty, of course, safety, and quality because there's a security guard. And then there are some hotels that x-ray your belongings. And then the hotels have global reach. They also have business accounts. Weaknesses of hotel, I think you have talked about it, high costs. And then the hotels might need to offer discounts in order to compete. And then the third one is there is a susceptibility to what we call a horn effect. You are marketing students. Have you heard of the halo effect? What's the halo effect? Your marketing majors. Halo effect is that you experience halo, H-A-L-O. The halo effect that you experience the company's product or service as very good, and therefore you think the company is good. Like, you see an iPhone and say, oh, iPhone's very good. I should buy an iMac or an Apple Mac because the company has The horn effect is the opposite. So meaning you experience something very bad at Hilton, then you will think, oh, Hilton's bad. It's a that's a significant weakness for the chain. And then for bed and breakfast, it's unique local accommodation, it's infinite, and it might be the only choice. But the weakness is, of course, you're very susceptible to the economy, and then the cost structure is highly sensitive to fluctuation. Now, moving on to our next question. How has the customer lodging market changed? I have Hermosa and then
The current lodging consumers have shifted away from emphasizing ownership and instead they prefer sharing or renting accommodation.
Okay, so you're saying, let me just, customers more tolerant of sharing economy. I said, well, it's not, you know.
Current consumers now are more prefers value or the experience over the standardized room. Like for example, in hotel sales, you already know the quality and the quality more like the Airbnb or bed and breakfast with
So meaning you're looking for unique experience. Yes. And then I saw Rion and then
their logic was change in terms of how they interact with visitors and how they define value in the travel for them. How they interact with the businesses and how they
yeah, what is the change? You said they changed how they interacted. So what was the change?
sense of how they value their
Which is what Bobby right? So shall we go back to Patobalos?
Once they're lodging consumers, now they start a community and closer relationship with their hosts.
Closer relationship. Your hosts.
Consumers like to find home-like spaces or
Home-like spaces.
just
Let's take one more. I don't know who raised first.
this one desire to be part of a community.
Desire to be.
Part of a community.
So, I have a question. Does that not seem to conflict with what Valdez? You want a home-like space, you mean, cozy space, but then you want to be part of the community. How do you, is that not seemingly contradictory?
I feel like charity in a sense that they trust the peer reviews on the posts.
Okay.
It's like it makes them feel like they belong and they're being supported by their peers who also visited the
Okay, so let's stop this one here. There's one thing that you have not covered, which the case stated. It's that the customers today are more tech savvy. And they use their smartphones a lot. But to you, that's not change. Because to you, you want always. I don't know about, are you tech savvy? No, there's an impression that Gen Z, sorry, you're Gen Z, right?
Yes.
There's an impression that Gen Alpha, the one after you, is less tech savvy. It is said that the Gen Y is more tech savvy than Gen X, and then the Gen Z is more tech savvy than the Gen Y. But Gen Alpha not necessarily more tech savvy, especially with the just outsourcing to AI. So let's do this. What do you think are the risks that Airbnb faces? Well, these
One of the risks is, for example, like inconsistency in the guest experiences.
so quality. Anyone else? Always the one.
Risks is possible slowdown of the travel industry.
Which of course applies to equipment. Slow down all travel. Then we have all these. Sorry, facts.
Risk for Airbnb is possible legal issues like name.
Yes, very good. Anything else? Is there any, Emiliano and Yomos, is there any competitiveness?
Risk population. Risk are macroeconomic uncertainty like
Yeah, that's it's not it. But let's just put this here as a folder. And then what was the next one? No, it's all good. Okay.
It's more on like passes from the traditional and their new competitors since there are hotel chains that adopt and also I think that we consider that have to consider different hostel like actually.
Oh. And then about. And then what is that about these
For the risks, sir, cybersecurity, since all the transactions were conducted on platform.
Okay, that's very good. And then what's the next one? Was it Navarro?
Wait, sir,
Okay, okay, fine. So let's now move on. Okay, so Emiliano.
my recommendation here,
Your recommendation has to address one of these risks.
okay. The solid and my analytic from the pandemic, where they showed organizational agility, they showed
So what should they do here? Continue to do what they're doing. Which makes it a boring company. Okay, next.
Recommendations that answer quality control and cybersecurity risks, strengthen quality and trust control.
Okay, which is what they're actually doing now, right? Overall, give you most done.
For improved competitiveness of Airbnb, they should also proactively engage with regulators worldwide to navigate legal challenges or the legal issues.
Okay, and then we have legal.
For slowdown of travel and the macroeconomic risk survey, they can reduce new employee recruiting for which they
You want to stop hiring?
which they started during the year for the company.
But that's only if the economy slows down. If it speeds up, then that's not a good decision.
Yeah. They're just hiring when
slowdown first.
So I think we're gonna stop here because we're out of time. My notes say that they have regulatory risk. How do you solve for this? You need to lobby for favorable regulation. They have reputational risk, so you need to improve quality, control, and security. They have competitive risk, so you need to actually cater to the business segments, as mentioned. and then you need to invest more in your platform to maximize your lead. You need to attract more hosts, and then you need to cooperate with us. And then finally, for profitability risk, you need to control your costs. Make sure your costs don't go out of control. Then you need to consider whether you need to do more sales and marketing. Maybe. Now, what happened? So, Airbnb continues to be blamed for causing housing shortages, meaning people are buying apartments just to rent to Airbnb. So New York City actually banned them in September 2023, and other cities are planning to introduce restrictions, such as Italy and Barcelona. Why? Because if you're the city, do you want the people do you want the housing to be bought by people offering Airbnb services, or do you want the people to actually live in the house? So that's the problem with Airbnb. It's attractive to buy the house to rent rather than to live in. And if you're the city, you want people to live in the city, right? Because homelessness causes a lot of problems with crime. And then the company is addressing customer complaints because the main complaints people have about Airbnb is that the hosts actually force them to pay cleaning fees. Sometimes the cleaning fee is even higher than the cost of the room. Why do they do this? Because money. And then second, so that they appear cheaper in the listing, but actually, when you check out, cleaning fee, $300. Now, you might think that hotels are trying to take advantage, but they are also doing this. Like, because the hotels are charging resort fees. Like, I went to Las Vegas last year. So lost heavily in that sense. So anyway, the resort fee was bigger than the room fee. So people are being pissed off. They're being pissed off by Airbnb. They're also being pissed off by the hotels. Which is very funny. Business, however, is booming. Revenues have increased 11.1 billion in 2024, and then earnings is now 2.64 billion, but it's a decrease from 4.8. But it's because of an accounting trick. Okay, because they have deferred tax assets that they reviewed, they recognized, then that gave a paper income in 2023. They will announce the revenues this Thursday for 2023. It's expected to be good because quarter 3 revenues in 2025 increased 10% year, while the income in 2024 they have been advantaged by the One Big Beautiful Bill by Donald Trump to reduce taxes. It's really called the One Big Beautiful Bill. So, very good participation today, giving out UP bucks to almost everyone. I think everyone. Custom 1 UP. Tato along of 1 UP buck. Bautista 2 UP bucks. Forest 1 UP buck. Rio 1 UP buck. Cabo 1 UP buck. Cervancia 2 UP bucks. Doble 1 UP. Fabroa 1 UP buck. Evernosa 1 UP buck. Eres 2 UP bucks. Balangis 2 UP bucks. Martinez 3 UP bucks. Navarro, Tijanas 2 UP bucks. Navarro 1 UP buck. Sevillano, 2 UP bucks. Solis, 1 UP buck. Valdez, 3 UP bucks. So that's it. The next time I'll see you is for case number. Just keep that on the page. Because the next batch.
Thank you.